Hello, hello, my name is Kyla Tilley. I am a singer-songwriter based in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. And I'm going to start with a song about my new shoes. My new shoes are not red. Quite clearly, when I walk in them, well, I don't stumble, I don't stumble, I don't stumble. I have a new favorite song, and I know all the words, I know them start to finish. When I sing along, you can hear me all up and down the block I live on. Got nothing left to hide behind, I left you lying on the bathroom door. Goddess, I'm a goddess. I got a new crush, and it's you. It's just a fun crush, a friendly crush, don't fear it. But I will give you love, and I'll sing about that love to anyone who'll listen. Watch the world revolve. No one can see us there, but we're they're all knowing. And if we see the winds of change, we'll command them to do our bidding. Got nothing left to hide behind, I left you lying on the bathroom floor. Goddess, I'm a goddess. Tonight there's something in the air. It could be magic or maybe it's just pollen. But on nights like these, I'll dance anywhere and I don't care. Breakfast, and it'll have a lot of fat in it, because fat is what makes food delicious. Got nothing left to hide behind, I left you lying on the bathroom floor. I look into my eyes and see that I'm a goddess, I'm a goddess, I'm a that is New Shoes, which is the title track of my album New Shoes I put out a couple years ago. So this next song is off a little EP I put out in the fall called Vagaries, but it's called The Wave. And when I wrote this, I was sort of stuck in my apartment in Montreal. So it was, you know, summer of 2020. The pandemic was raging outside. I couldn't leave. I had to stay in my little hot, unair-conditioned room where it was 40 degrees and the sweat was rolling off me. And I was imagining how nice it would be if instead of my little tiny hot apartment I could be on the sandy beaches of Nova Scotia with the sun bearing down and the nice, cool, cold water on the beach that you can walk out into for, well, probably not very far, but you can go out wading in the beach in Nova Scotia, and it's very pleasant. So that's what I was thinking about when I wrote this song. Warm sun, bare skin, braced for cold, shocking pleasure of immersion. Plant my toes, grip the sand, extend my arms, caress the surface, and wait. Gentle, gentle are the waves. The big spray hits when I'm not looking, takes advantage of my lapse, scoops my body up and slams my insignificant form down to drag along the bottom, dislodging snails and habitations. Hair like netting catches seaweed, tangles round my face and throat. Choking salt, spinning liquid, I'm ejected, used, exhausted. Bobbing like the wooden treasures, shaped, softened, and displaced by the ocean. So, after living in Montreal in this very hot apartment, we decided to move back to Newfoundland. And we moved into this house here, and when we moved into this house, the walls were purple. Dusty purple. Actually, pretty much the shade of the banner on my performance, which, you know, isn't the best color for the walls in your house, if you ask me. So I decided I needed to paint, and after years and years of living in Montreal, I've grown very fond of what I call Landlord White. So I set out to paint my house entirely white, and well, maybe house painting is not my forte, but I did get this song out of it. Paint settled in the fibers of the carpet on one edge where the tape was less secure. I did my best to soak it up, but latex hardens much too quickly for my reflexes to stare. Well, there go all my efforts for a clean job, there go my endeavors for a perfect home. But in the grand scheme of things, I guess it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, I poured over too many shades of white. Who knew such a number could exist? It was far more complicated than I was expecting, and by the end of it, just kinda picked one. Well, there goes all that time that I spent thinking. There goes all my planning, all my careful choice. But in the grand scheme of things, I guess it didn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, what matters is the house is not so dark now. What matters is the feeling of renewal. What matters is a place to sip our coffee. So many jagged edges where a hole was cut for piping, or a molding isn't quite flat. broke so many tiny brushes made of foam just trying to jam that paint to those corners. When I was all done, there were still spaces, places that I missed where the old shows through. But in the grand scheme of things, I guess it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, what matters is the house is not so dark now. What matters is the feeling of renewal. What matters is a place to sip our coffee. What matters is the house is not so dark now. What matters is the house is not so dark now. What matters is the house is not so dark now. So, the Wave I mentioned earlier, I put out on a little EP called Vagaries, and so I put this EP out in the fall, so it was 5 songs, and my whole plan was these are going to be 5, you know, kind of light-hearted, little bit, nothing too serious songs to lighten the mood, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's fall, and everyone's down, and it's getting dark, and the weather's getting colder, and we can't go outside anymore, so I'll do this, like, uplifting set of tunes. And in retrospect, I think like nothing good happens to anyone in any of the songs. Like it's all like, you know, in The Wave I get smashed into the ocean. And this one is about a dinner party that does not go as planned. Should have had a lovely time, a pleasant evening shared with friends around the table gathered for a meal. Set the places all so nicely, matching linens, place cards too. I was so looking forward to the night. But no, instead we're here in this cave. How did my dinner party become a party of adventurers? I was prepared to face a mountain of dishes. Now I'm facing certain doom, and as I gaze into the gaping maw of death, I ask, whatever possessed me to look under the label on the can of condensed milk? The recipe it promised turned out to be a spell, and the magic baking powder must have lived up to its name. We didn't open up the oven, we opened up a gate. By now the guests had all arrived, and in the kitchen did converge. The wine was set to breathing for our meal. The food was all prepared, only one thing left to go. When the timer rang, I beamed, the dessert. But no, instead we're here in this cave. I planned a dinner party, now we're a party of adventurers. I was prepared to seek out the finest vintage. Now I seek some magic sword, and as I gaze upon the teeth that could be swords, I ask, whatever possessed me to look under the label on the can of condensed milk? The recipe it promised turned out to be a spell, and the magic baking powder must have lived up to its name. We didn't open up the oven, we opened up a gate. And they all look to me like I'm some chosen one to lead us through this maze, return us to our homes with only oven mitts, craft beer apron for armor. I fear that we are destined not to have but to be dinner. And I wish I'd read less novels and spent more time at the gym. And as I'm slipping down the gullet, doom I ask, whatever possessed me to look under the label on the can of condensed milk? The recipe it promised So this next one, I wrote this one from a songwriting prompt. And during the pandemic, I've taken to writing a lot of songs. And I've taken to broadcasting them on Twitch. And so a couple times a week I go on there and I write in front of an audience. So I had this prompt to work with, and the prompt was taken by the wind. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with that? But you know, I really love what we're learning in this day and age, and the discovery that birds are dinosaurs is something that I'm quite taken with. I'm also quite taken with the idea of how, as humans, we're actually really not that dissimilar from all the other animals on the planet. Like, we've got to eat, and we've got to raise our young, and we've got to go to bed and get up in the morning and do it all over again. That's what all the birds in the backyard are doing. And they're getting their groceries, and they're feeding the kids, and all that. So these are kind of themes I like working with. So with that in mind, here's Taken by the Wind.
Generator on the wing, lift and drag a memory encoded, understanding unforgotten. Jump, drop, glide, taken by the wind. Hustling, providing for the brood. Hunt and gather, quarry, recognize knowledge hereditary. Sight, dive, capture, taken by the wind. Times long past, we walked on land. Great behemoth lies there still, by fate continues, taken by the wind. Chattering, gossip spread on the wire. Daylight waning, helio settling, nocturnal dangers waking. Home, rest, do it again. Taken by the wind, taken by the wind.
So my name has been Kyla Tilley. I am a singer-songwriter. I'm based in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. And I'm going to do one more song for the evening. And this one is, this is my latest single. I released this in March. And it's a co-write with a very good friend of mine. Her name is Cara Windsor-Hare. And years ago we played together in a heavy metal band, and she wrote the lyrics and sang, and I wrote the riffs and played them. But this is a folk song. I'm here as a folk singer, and we wrote another song together, and I wanted to record it because I'm recording right now. And all the songs have these themes of like finding yourself and kind of accepting yourself more than anything, and kind of moving forward with that. And so I called her to tell her that I was recording this album and that I wanted to use this song we had written and that these were the themes. And she went, "Oh, Tilly, I've got lyrics for you." So she sent me these lyrics, and she had had a really bad winter, like a very bad, miserable, nothing that could go right went right, and everything that could go wrong did, and she spent the winter kind of moping in her basement and just feeling miserable and feeling bad about herself and feeling bad about everything. And when spring came and she went swimming, which is her favorite thing to do, she kind of realized that, oh, she didn't have to spend her winter the way she did. She could have taken matters into her own hands. She could have got an axe, she could have gone out to the ice, she could have chopped a big hole, and she could have gone swimming. So that's what this song is about. It's kind of about finding your joys where you can, and it's called Swimsuit and Axe. I'm trapped in the basement, I don't have an ashtray, and I spend my time wasting and fretting on bad days. Black mold on the lawn, burn holes in all of my shoes. If I could focus on good deeds, not bad, I might have spent winter not feeling so down. Replaying what she sang over an endless and on. I'd have strode out on the ice with my swimsuit and axe. I'd have chopped a big hole with a few clumsy whacks, and I'd drown out her voice there in the frozen pond. Throw your arms out, unfurl your cloak, push on through to the butterfly stroke. Kick out hard and ride on the wave that you make. Let the murk and the muck pass underneath. Let the grasses and fishes tickle your feet. If I could focus on good deeds, not bad, I might have spent winter not feeling so down. Replaying what she sang over an endless and on. I'd have strode out on the ice with my swimsuit and axe. I'd have chopped a big hole with a few clumsy whacks, and I drown out her voice there in the frozen pond. Float on your back, take a breath deep with the ears full of water. You can't hear her speak. Kick out hard and ride on the wave that you make. Let the murk and the muck pass underneath. Let the grasses and fishes tickle your feet. Fingertips wrinkled up high on bliss. Skin smells like Pond's boggy day kiss. Skin prickles and shiver, lips blue, digits pale. Joy quivers to bursting in euphoric flail.
I might have spent winter not feeling so down, replaying what she sang over an endless and on. I'd have strode out on the ice with my swimsuit and axe. I'd have chopped a big hole with a few clumsy whacks, and I'd drown out her voice there in the frozen pond. Down in the bog, cold from the spring, leeches and eels to the rocks clinging, musky and muddy and stinking of peat, frogs on fly bitten, I am complete.
So thank you very, very much for joining me here this evening. It's been really wonderful. I have been Kyla Tilley. You can find me all over the internet at the information at the bottom of your screen. So have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next time.